All right, let's dive right in. We're going to talk about the one single idea that's at the heart of all economics. And you know what? It all starts with a feeling that I bet every single one of us knows really well.
I mean, have you ever had that feeling you've got this list of things you want to do, right? Go on a killer vacation, grab the latest phone, and be responsible and save for the future. But then you look at your paycheck and it's like, nope, not going to happen. Or how about this one? You want to binge that new show everyone's talking about, see your friends, and get a solid 8 hours of sleep? Good luck with that. There are only 24 hours in a day.
So here's the thing, that feeling, it's not you. You're not failing at life. It's just the way the world works for everyone. And what's so cool is that this universal problem is exactly why the entire field of economics even exists. It's the starting point for everything.
Okay, so there's a name for this. Economists call it scarcity. It's a super simple idea when you break it down. We humans want, well, we want everything, right? Our wants are pretty much infinite. But the stuff we need to get those things, we're talking time, money, natural resources, that stuff is limited. It's finite. And that mismatch, that gap between unlimited wants and limited resources, that's the engine that drives all of economics.
And because of this scarcity thing, we have to make choices all the time. We just can't have it all. So when you choose one thing, you are automatically not choosing something else. It's a trade-off. And I mean, every single decision, from what you're having for breakfast this morning to the career you're going to build for yourself, is at its core an economic decision. Okay, so if every choice is a trade-off, what's the actual cost of something? It's not just the price tag, right? The real cost is tied up in what you had to give up to get it. And yep, you guessed it, economists have a term for that too, opportunity cost. Now, pay attention to a super important word here, best. The opportunity cost isn't the sum of all the other things you could have been doing. No, no. It's just the value of the single, next best thing you didn't choose. Let's make this a little more concrete. Picture this. You've somehow managed to drag yourself out of bed for an 8 a.m. class. Oof. Now, yeah, you pay tuition, that's a monetary cost, but what's the opportunity cost of you sitting in that chair right then? I mean, think about it. You could have been sleeking in a little longer. You could have been enjoying a nice, slow breakfast instead of grabbing something on the run. Maybe you could have watched the news or just taken a less frantic walk to school. Those were all on the table. But, and this is the crucial part, the opportunity cost of that class wasn't all of those things put together. It was just the one thing you wanted to do most. So if you are a person who values sleep above all else, the real opportunity cost of that 8 a.m. class was that glorious extra hour of sleep you gave up. That's it.
So I know what you might be thinking. Scarcity, opportunity cost. It all sounds a bit depressing, like we're just stuck making tough choices forever. But here's where it gets really interesting. There's a way out, or at least a way to make things a whole lot better for everyone, and it comes down to working together. This idea is called gains from trade, and it's honestly a beautiful concept. It just means that when we trade with each other, when we exchange goods and services, we can all walk away better off than we were before. We can literally create more happiness and satisfaction out of thin air just by trading. Okay, look at this super simple example. You've got Maria, who has 2 pairs of sunglasses but no hats. And then there's Adam, who has 2 hats but no sunglasses. Now, what they both really want is one of each. So what do? They make a simple trade. Maria gives Adam a pair of sunglasses, Adam gives Maria a hat. Boom, they both get what they want. Notice, nothing new was made here, right? But the total amount of happiness, or what economists call utility, went up for both of them. That's the magic of trade. So how does this work when you scale it up from 2 people to, say, 8 billion? Well, it's based on a few key ideas. You've got specialization, that's just focusing on what you're good at. Then there's division of labor, which is about breaking a big job into smaller pieces. And then the big one, comparative advantage. This is a game changer. It basically says we all win when we each focus on producing the thing we can make at the lowest opportunity cost. It's not about who's the absolute best. It's about who gives up the least to make something. All right, so we've got the individual stuff down. We've got simple trades. But what about the choices for an entire economy? How do you even begin to picture the trade-offs a whole country has to make? Well, economists came up with a pretty neat visual for this. This thing here is called the Production Possibilities Curve, or PPC for short. Now, I know it looks like a graph from a math textbook, but trust me, the concept is really straightforward.
All this curve shows is the maximum amount of two different things, let's say movies and computers, that an economy can possibly produce, assuming it's running at 100% efficiency. It's the what's possible line. So, if you pick any point right on that curved line, like points A, B, or C, that means the economy is being efficient. It's firing on all cylinders. At point C, for example, we're making a certain mix of movies and computers. If we wanted to make even one more movie, we'd have to make fewer computers. There's no waste. Every resource is being used to its max. But what about a point inside the curve, like this point I? Well, that's what we call inefficient. It means the economy is slacking. It's not reaching its full potential. This could mean you have people unemployed or factories just sitting there, dark and empty. At point I, we could be making more movies and more computers without needing any new resources. We're just not using what we have very well. And then you've got point J, way out here outside the curve. What's that? Well, that's the impossible dream. For now. It represents a combination of movies and computers that our economy just can't produce with the technology and resources we have today. But I want you to focus on that phrase, for now. That little yet is super important. Because, and this is so powerful, that curve isn't stuck in place. It can move. And how it moves depends on the choices we make today. Look at these two scenarios. If an economy just focuses on making stuff for us to use right now, consumption goods, the curve barely moves, low growth. But if that same economy decides to invest in the future, building new factories, developing new tech, what we call capital goods, then the entire curve shifts outward. And suddenly, that impossible point J, it's not impossible anymore. That's economic growth. Okay, so let's recap. We've got scarcity, which forces choices. Those choices have an opportunity cost. But we can get better off through trade, and we can grow our potential over time. But that leaves one huge question. In an economy with millions or even billions of people all making their own decisions, who's in charge? How does this all get coordinated without turning into total chaos? It turns out every single society in history, no matter how big or small, has to answer three basic economic questions. First, what are we going to produce? Second, how are we going to produce it? And third, for whom are we producing it? I mean, who gets all the stuff once it's made? Now, in some places, a central authority, like a government, tries to answer all those questions. That's a command economy. But in a market economy, which is what most of us are familiar with, the answer is something totally different. It's decentralized, it's organic, and it's incredibly powerful. The answer to all three of those questions is prices. Just think about what a price does. A high price is a signal. It shouts, hey, people really want this thing and there isn't enough of it. That signal then creates an incentive. Businesses see that high price and think, wow, we could make a lot of money producing that, so they do. And finally, prices handle distribution. Who gets the stuff? The people who are willing and able to pay the market price. It's this amazing, self-organizing system for sending information around. Which leads us to a really mind-bending, futuristic thought to leave you with. What about AI? As artificial intelligence gets smarter and smarter, could a massive computer system do this whole thing better than the market? I mean, imagine an AI that could track every single person's desires in real time and know exactly where every single resource is. Could it allocate everything more perfectly and efficiently than our messy system of prices? Would we even need markets anymore? Or could a giant AI brain make the whole study of economics obsolete? It's a heck of a question to chew on. Thanks for tuning in.